Group. Hold on 1 minute. Well, then, welcome to the Two Punks to Be a Podcast, because it's still that so far. The podcast that's still not a podcast. It's just our bonus content for you, the members of the Punk Hardcore Crossover Crib Facebook group. Huge redo of an old episode we did before. And joining me, the Grant Hart to my Bob Mould. He is the founding father, and he is José Gonzalez.
Hello.
How you do, sir?
How y'all doing? Swell. How are you, sir?
Tired. I'm tired.
Tired, right? Long day for me too.
I'm working 7 days a week at the moment, so
yeah.
And I'm drinking on a Tuesday, which is probably not the best way to go about that.
It's okay. I had a Coca-Cola.
I'm having my weekend right now.
Exactly.
I gotta wake up at 4 in the morning though.
Ain't that a bitch?
That's what I do. Oh man.
Yeah.
So way back when this whole thing first started early on, I had been doing a lot of episodes with Nick as we were trying to figure this thing out. And you were like, well, I want to do an episode. And we hadn't gotten to do anything together yet. And so we just kind of quickly threw one together, and you wanted to talk about Husker Dü back then. I had not listened to much except Zen Arcade and some random shit here and there. And I just kind of let you go, and you did an amazing job on that episode. And by all means, everyone go back and listen to that. Ah, fuck, I should have wrote down what number episode that was. But go back through the history.
Absolutely.
It's probably like episode 5. I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
José put on a
first episode you and I did together.
José put on a clinic, man. Absolute great job on that, and talked about the whole history, and we talked a little bit. Right before the episode, I had listened to some of New Day Rising, and I loved it. And I had listened to Zen Arcade, so I had a little bit, but this time I did it proper, did an insane deep dive, and I went deep. And I got all the albums, listened to everything. We're gonna talk about them all. We got album rankings.
Yes.
I got solo album stuff we're even gonna talk about. All kind of stuff, man.
Yes, sir.
Yes, long way to go. Short time to get there.
We urge everybody to check out the first episode, like Kenny said, and again, thank you for the kind words. That's a great episode.
It was fantastic. It was like way early.
Fantastic
I didn't know what the fuck
episode.
I was doing yet, and I didn't know what I was doing yet. You came in there and threw it down, man. I was like, wow, that was a great episode.
Thank you.
I was like, that's genuinely
Thank
good.
You. Yes, I heard.
I was surprised at all of us.
You're far too kind. Thank you.
But
yep.
So let's go, man.
We urge everyone to check out that episode. Yep, check out that episode first, like you said. If you want to know the history, all the backstory, check out that episode. Tonight we're just doing a ranking of everything they ever did.
Yeah, we'll be talking about every album as we go. That's going to sneak some history in there naturally by default. We'll be talking a little bit about all that stuff as we go. So it's going to work itself in there. But
absolutely.
Anyway,
absolutely.
Y'all want to launch in? So you threw some random stuff out at me, and I'm gonna let you kind of go. Do you know what the order of you want to talk about in? Because I do have those singles and stuff. So if you want to take the order you want to do it in, that's fine. Because I don't know specifically some of the dates.
I'm gonna go.
So just one at a time. Shoot me whatever we're gonna talk about first.
All right. So are we doing a ranking, or are we going in order?
No, we're talking about it first. We rank later. We're talking about every album first.
Gotcha. We're talking about every album first. Okay, so technically we're gonna talk about. Let's get into from the beginning. So
yeah, we're doing the discography part of this right now.
We're doing the discography, and then we're doing our rankings. Yes, absolutely. Sir. So technically, the first album, or should I say single
first,
was the Statue/Amusement, released in 1981.
Yes, sir.
4 tracks. First single, 4 tracks. Statues, Amusement, Writer's Cramp, and Let's Go Die.
Yes, sir.
Very straightforward, I feel. Very heavy, classic hardcore. Humble beginnings. They definitely get heavier. But that's the first single. Do you want me to keep going?
Yeah, also I had
some words.
Yeah, did you mention I was listening to it on Amazon Music, and it had Writer's Cramp and Let's Go Die. You mentioned that, right?
Yep, Statues, Amusement, Writer's Cramp, and Let's Go Die
Yeah, okay.
in
So
the
I
order.
listened to all that.
Four
That was really
tracks.
cool. I really,
Yeah,
really liked the Statues song itself. That was my favorite of the four. That song is
yeah,
really, really goddamn good.
yeah. Me too. Yeah, that
uh
song rules. But again, go on. No, I was just gonna say, spoiler alert for me, there's not a bad song in this discography, so whether or not
yeah.
call me biased, I'm just letting you know off the bat. So
I mostly agree with that. I think I'll get through this and see if I'm misleading myself. But I liked everything pretty much. I don't think there's anything necessarily bad. Not
yeah,
till we not till we get to Solo Land over there, but I'll get to that.
no,
but
absolutely.
yeah, this is kind of early on in the career, like you said. Everything's pretty hard. There's a little experimentation in here that would follow later, but for the most part,
Quite
straightforward stuff. Like I said, Statues is definitely my favorite on that. Point out
me
to
too.
me as we go as far as my favorites here. Who did what? Is that a Grant song or a Bob song? You know the
Statues, I believe, is a Bob Mould song. I forgot to
okay.
write the who wrote what, but I believe that's Bob Mould.
Okay.
I believe that's Bob Mould.
We'll see.
A lot
All
of the
right.
early stuff is mostly Bob, mostly Bob.
Okay.
So
Interesting.
their second release is actually their first album,
Okay.
which is very weird because their very first album was a live album, Land
Right.
Speed Record,
Land speed
released
record.
yep, released January 1982 on New Alliance Records, the original pressing. Later
Okay.
pressings, I believe, came out through SST, but
Yes.
it was originally on New Alliance. That's where they got started. And
Two, three, four.
yeah, no melody on this album. This is
no.
just straight up top to bottom, just again played live, ferocious, their true hardcore album in their collection, if you
yeah.
want to call it that. This shit is heavy, man.
Yeah, if they
So,
sure I put out if they want to be hardcore, they sure as hell can be. They said this was a three
oh
hundred
yeah,
dollar $300 budget recording on a 4-track soundboard. The title says it all, man. They're going for a speed here.
yeah,
This might
they
be
were
one
on
of the
speed.
fastest albums I've heard. But as much as I don't like Bad Brains, when Bad Brains actually does play punk every now and then, they're fast
Yeah,
as shit, and this is right up there with it.
this is
like
right up there. Yeah,
like Husker Dü when they want to go fast. It's fucking
oh yeah.
fast. This is
And
pretty
three hundred
crazy.
dollars in 1982 is a lot of money, man.
Yeah. It probably
In
the cost of
19,
that fucking 4-track. That's about it.
mm-hmm.
That's what
Fact,
they mean.
fact, fact.
Delta Control, I think, was my favorite on it. But it's hard to really say because everything in a good way kind of just sounds the same.
Yeah,
There's not
this
really
is
a
a
whole
weird
lot of
album.
variation in anything going on here. It's just one, two, three,
Exactly.
four, kick you in the face, and that's
Just
whatever.
straight top to bottom, 17 tracks on the original LP. I do
Yeah.
have the LP. The original is split individually into songs. My CD version has the first half is one whole track, and the second half on the LP is one whole track. So it's split into two songs. It
Yeah.
combines the whole show into two parts.
I ended up having to listen to it on YouTube. I think okay, because what happened is the Amazon Music. I listen to everything on Amazon Music. I don't pay for Spotify
Yeah,
anymore. I do Amazon Music, and Amazon Music only had like half of it, or like I guess like the first half or whatever you're talking about. So to get the whole damn 17 track thing, I went watching it on YouTube, and I don't know, it
yeah,
was hard to find a good one. I found one guy that kind of had it up there, and it was split into weird. I don't know.
yeah.
It was hard to tell what the fuck was what with it. It's kind
Watch
of
it
a
on
mess.
YouTube. Buy the LP or buy
Yeah.
the cassette because I also have the cassette, and it's split individually each track,
Yeah,
like
that'd
the
be nice.
LP.
That would have been nice. The
Yeah,
the YouTube one was
yeah,
like split at first, and then the second thing was just one big block, and I couldn't tell really what was what.
yeah,
Somebody in the
yeah.
comments was nice enough
Exactly.
to break it down, and I kind of followed it from that. That's about it.
And the timestamps, right?
Yeah, they broke it
Basically,
down
the
a little
song. Yeah,
bit. Yeah, they broke it down
yeah,
for me in the comments, but yeah, it's
yeah.
fast, man. It's good shit. It's hardcore as fuck.
It's fucking ferocious, man.
It is.
So, oh yeah, absolutely.
It
So this is
is.
their first release. First release, I mean, just goes uphill from here.
It does.
And next, in between their first full or second, technically first full length, and this first album is the next single released in that same year, 1982, In a Free Land.
Yep. Okay, so I did
So
everything in the
there's
right order. Nice. Yeah,
yep.
in a free
So there's
land. Good stuff. A bit more melodic
melodic.
here.
Very, very. In the Freeland's one of
Uh,
my favorite songs by this band.
yeah. Yeah,
What
that's what
do
I
I
put.
want?
Free Land is my favorite on this one.
Yeah, in a Freeland. Love that
That was
track.
my favorite on this one. What do I want is a little bit more hardcore-ish, and
Yep. And MIC or
MIC, I
Mike.
think I wrote down. Yeah, that was a little hardcore too.
Yeah. But in a Freeland's melodic, man. The beginning with the melody, very kind of very Ramones worship, very Ramones and Beatles worship. That's a very you'll notice that pattern as we go along. There's a lot of Ramones and Beatles worship
Sure.
throughout this discography, with the melodies, the ferociousness of those early Ramones albums, kind of, especially that first album, right? But yeah, in a Freeland, great. I dig
Yep.
it.
That was my
I love
favorite
it.
on there for sure.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. So the next one we'll get to is technically their first studio release, but their second overall, second album called Everything Falls Apart, released in January of 1983 on
Okay.
Reflex Records.
Okay, that I had out order.
Yep,
Interesting.
I love this. I love this album.
Yes. Uh, Punch Drunk is fast.
Punch Drunk is fast. Donovan covers Sunshine Superman.
Yeah, you're getting some early
Mhm.
hardcore still here. The first
Yeah,
official album. Again, I'll put on this one. Their speed is so insane. You got 12 songs, 19 minutes. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Pretty much
Uh,
everything written by Bob Mould except for one track, Wheels, which was written by Grant Hart.
okay.
That's his only contribution on this album.
Okay.
My favorite song on here is probably the title track, but Gravity, the last track, is
I put
not
on
far
here
from that.
that Target is probably my favorite, but Gravity was also really, really, really good.
Gravity is amazing. Target's a great song too.
Yeah, Target was kind of. I just like the lyrics on Target. That's kind of
Yeah,
what grabbed me more than anything. The way he worded that and the writing on Target, I really love the way it was written.
yeah,
That's kind of what grabbed me.
yeah. Written by Bob Mould, and he has such a way with words, especially early on, which is
Oh
impressive.
man,
He only gets better. He only gets
yeah.
better. Trust
I
me.
got some lines written down here and there from whoever is written them, whether it be him or Grant. But yeah, man.
Bob writes
So
the heavier songs. Grant's more melodic, a little more catchy hooks. But Bob's just out the gate,
yeah,
heavy.
it's it's so crazy to think that, man. When you get to later, you know.
There's a reason for that because I believe he was in the closet still at that time. You couldn't
Yeah,
say you were gay
yeah.
in
I
the
had no
80s. So
idea.
that was yeah. So his way of venting that out, that frustration was through his writing. And man, through that frustration, got a lot of great heavy tracks from this band. Which leads us to the next one, which is their EP, I guess their
Okay.
first EP, Metal Circus, released in
Metal
October
Circus, man.
1983.
Oh,
Oh my God, dude.
this one, you know, I usually don't do EPs, but I'm glad I did here. I'm glad you forced me
Oh my
to.
God, man.
I fucking love
First,
this.
first to the last cause is hands down my favorite song on this album.
This one
It's in my top
absolutely,
five.
this absolutely fucking grabbed me, man.
Oh my
Uh,
God,
and this is
man.
where I'm a kind of nerd out a little bit on the grant the Bob Mold stuff, man. Cause like on especially for Real World, the lyrics are brilliant, but like his playing on Real World is so cool. I put it on here. I'm like, boy, he's getting his money's worth out of that chorus pedal, and I went bought
Yeah.
one.
Oh, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing.
And look, and the guitar nerds are gonna jump on here and be like, well, actually, I know. Okay, generally speaking, he's using probably like a harmonizer pedal, and he's setting it
Yeah.
to where it's doing a chorusing effect. I got
Yep.
that. And he also does some other shit with stereo amps and stuff, and that's how he gets more natural chorus and all this stuff. I know,
Yep.
I know. Fuck you. I bought a chorus pedal because it's easier for me. Okay.
That's awesome.
And
That's
it's a
awesome.
Fender. I like Fender stuff. Uh,
Oh yeah.
oh my god, that dude is such an inspiration for me, man. Is it not
Yeah.
often in these later days I'm inspired so much. I was listening to this Metal Circus at work, and I just wanted to go home and play guitar, man.
Amazing,
Like he's
man.
playing this crazy chorus over this insane distortion and stuff, and like more of a punk setting. It's like, holy shit, I've never tried that before. I want to go home now.
Yeah.
And his playing style
Yeah.
is so fucking cool because it's
Yeah.
just so strummy and it's just so different.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
oh. Man, it just totally made me want to play guitar. I've been playing so much more. He's such an inspiration, man. Bob
Oh,
Moulds a
absolutely.
much looked up to guy in guitar stuff, and this is my first time really diving deep, and it totally grabbed me. Totally fucking grabbed me, man.
Yeah. But I
Oh
mean,
my
this band
god.
has two, in my opinion, two of the greatest writers in punk rock history. I mean, Grant Hart and
Yeah.
Bob Mould in one band is, and no slouch to Greg too, the bass player. He's the underrated guy. But you get Bob and Grant in the same band, it's like, God damn, man. Bob has 4 songs on here, and Grant has 3.
Yeah.
Is what I. It's not funny anymore. Is Grant Hart,
Oh, that's good.
Diane,
Diane. Man.
Diane, man,
On
amazing track.
we're talking about lyrics on Lifeline. It says gotta find my destiny before it turns to fate. Fuck, dude. Oh man.
Fucking amazing track.
Oh,
Heavy, heavy
so
fucking
good.
track,
So
man.
good.
The Lifeline, his screams on that shit is amazing, man.
Yeah, Real World is definitely my favorite on here because again, the guitar
Yeah,
work on that just blew me the fuck away.
yeah,
And not many things does that for me these days, but god damn it,
yeah,
I wanted to come home and play guitar and figure shit out. And like the next
yeah.
day, dude, I got to work, the fucking power's out. I got to go home and play guitar all day. And I nerded out
Oh yeah.
on fucking Bob Mould tones. I chasing Bob Mould tones and shit. What a fun time. God, he's so awesome, dude.
Oh yeah. First of the last calls for me. That's in my top 5 Husker Dü songs. So moving on to the next one, which is their second studio album, Zen Arcade,
Oh,
released in July 1, 1984 on
wow.
SST.
Yeah,
Metal Circus, it was also SST. That's their first. Metal
yes,
Circus
sir.
was their first one on SST, but Zen Arcade's their second overall
Yeah,
on
what a heavy
SST.
hitter, man. Heavy hitter right
Double
here.
album,
Double
double
album.
album,
You got the concept.
concept.
We got
Yep.
a Spot producing stuff, right?
Spot, yep. Spot.
Spot's producing. He produces a lot of their
Spot's
stuff.
producing.
I didn't
Yeah, he
know
was the
that
in-house
until
producer
reading.
for
Yeah.
he was the in-house producer for SST. Rest in peace to Spotty. Passed away about a
Yes.
couple years ago.
Not that long ago. We were talking about it
Yeah,
when it happened.
amazing. This is where I came in. Did something I learned today was my gateway into this band. And I love that track
I
so
wrote down
much.
here that you go from like Land Speed record in 82, to this in 84 is like a fucking Beatles level of talent jump. And as
Night and
far as
day.
writing and shit, like
Night and
wow.
fucking day.
It's
Yeah,
another one of those bands that was around for such a short period of time that was able to do so much and grow so much from album to album. You
yeah.
know, there's a lot of that Beatle worship, like you were talking about, and they very much took that
Big time.
trajectory as a band. Is like go from like this very pure raw thing to just being so sophisticated. Like 2 years later, like who does that, man? Such a jump.
Yeah,
Wow, this is
big
so
time. I mean, this
different,
is
man. Grant Hart's
often
writing acoustic
considered
stuff, and
never never talking to you again is an amazing track. It's
right.
just
Uh,
him and an acoustic guitar, fantastic, man.
Biggest Lie is
Pride
great.
Pride is like Bummel's cry for coming out the closet. That's him
Yeah,
crying to come out, which is an amazing song, by the way.
yeah,
But my all-time favorite
yeah.
Husker Du song is on
About
this
to say,
album.
of course, the greatest song they have, of course.
For me, is
Absolutely
Pink
agree.
Turns to
Yep,
Blue.
yep. Pink turns
Yep,
to blue.
Grant Hart's
Masterpiece, man.
finest musical achievement, man.
Masterpiece.
That song is, oh my god.
Fantastic.
Forget about it. Forget about it, man.
Fantastic.
But oh my god. But he's also got, he has, we mentioned Never Talking to You Again. It's Grant Hart. Turn on the news.
Yeah.
My god, man.
I meant to
Turn on the
fucking
news, dude.
I meant to go and like look up because I told you a while back I found this band back on Bandcamp a long time ago that it did a cover of Pink Turns to Blue that was fucking amazing,
Oh
man.
my
And I
god,
can't
yeah.
remember who it was now. It still bothers me. I was supposed to go look that up, try to figure it out,
Yeah.
but I didn't. But yeah,
That
man,
is
Pink Turns to Blue is such a great fucking song. God damn,
hands
is it
down.
good?
Yeah. Spoiler, best song on the album, my favorite Husker
Yeah,
Du
it's
song
the
ever.
best Husker Du song, fucking period.
Ah, yeah, period. Shit is
uh,
amazing, man.
you got the kind of a concept here of this kid that runs away from home because of his home life being unfulfilling and finds out the outside world is worse.
Yeah,
At
it's
the
not
end,
much
turns out it
better.
was a dream. Whoa, the old dream
Exactly.
ending. Womp womp womp.
It was
But
all
that's
a
okay.
dream,
We'll let
basically.
that go.
Yeah, but I
As
mean,
as Jim Cornette might say, lazy booking.
exactly. More on
but
Zen Arcade in the ranking. I won't give much away, but yeah,
but
Zen
good
Arcade.
story. Good story
Yeah,
anyway.
very good story. And
Fantastic
just
album.
and just when you think, can it get any better?
Yes.
Fast forward to January of '85, you get New Day Rising. Holy
New
fucking
Day
shit.
Rising.
God
So this is
damn.
what I jumped to when we were trying to listen to anything because I'd already listened to Zen. And I jumped to this one and I loved this album. Ah man, you know what?
This album's perfection,
I
man.
said that Pink Turns to Blue is the greatest song, and it is. But I think there's a difference
Yes.
between greatest and favorites.
Yes.
And I think, oh god damn it. Oh, Books on UFOs, my favorite song.
Great track. But it kicks
God
off with
damn,
New
is that
Day,
written so awesome? Oh, I love that little
written by Grant
story.
Hart.
Yeah,
Written by
another
Grant
Grant
Hart.
Hart. That's what I'm saying. Grant's killing it for
Another
me here,
Grant Hart.
man.
Dude, Girl Who Lives on Heaven Hill. God damn, he
Yeah, I'm
lets you
saying, man, dude's a killer writer. Oh,
vocally, he just belts it out on that song in the end, man. Oh my god. New Day Rising. I apologize is one of Bob
I
Moulds'
apologize. Perfect example.
greatest.
Yeah.
Perfect example, Celebrated Summer, man.
Perfect example. I wrote
Oh,
down I think I will lose my mind, but not my memory. What a great
yeah.
fucking line, man.
If I
uh
told you I couldn't convince you if I tried, oh my
yeah.
god, dude.
Yeah,
Perfect
man.
power line. How to Skin a Cat is great. I
Yeah,
like that.
man. How to Skin a Cat. Brilliant. I wrote that too. The lyrics are weird.
Pla- and this is a weird album, right? New Day Rising, because it's the perfect mix of the noisy early stuff and what's to come. This is like the
I
bridge
wrote at
gap.
the bottom of this, honestly, best album so far. Chorus pedals.
Yeah, chorus pedals galore. This is I make this comparison all the time. There's a band called Death, and they did an album called Human, which is the bridge gap between their later stuff and their early stuff. New Day Rising is that for Husker Dü. It's the
Yeah.
bridge between the early stuff, pretty much saying goodbye to all the hardcore sound on this album, and
Yeah.
foreshadowing
Yeah.
their later more power pop a la Cheap Trick, a la Big Star replacements, that sound, which we'll get into in a second. But yeah, New Day Rising,
It's a new day. Yes, it is. Yeah.
fuck, man.
What a
God
great fucking
damn.
album. What a great fucking
Great
album.
album. Great album.
This
Beautiful
is where
album cover
people
too.
started calling them sellouts, and I don't think so.
No, not at all.
No matter what
I mean,
throughout their history as they go on, no matter what, even when they start to write more melodic, their music always has this grit to it still. There's still just a little bit of dirt rubbed on it where it's not polished enough to be sellout to
yeah.
me in any kind of way.
No, not at
Like you
all.
said
Still
in the
produced by
message to
Spot.
me at the beginning, the message you said was absolutely perfect, that it was just natural progression all the way through. And that's really what it
It's a
is.
natural progression.
I have a
I mean,
question on that as we go towards the end. I have things I don't understand, but they're progressing together, you know?
they're progressing together, and Grant Hart's coming to his own big time, big time, and he just gets better. Trust me. But long story short, bands like Nirvana, Green Day, Blink 182, you name it, the '90s owes their careers to New Day Rising, big
Okay,
time.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they wouldn't have a career without this album.
It's
Underrated band, but it's a very influential band. Trust me, it
well
just
that's
gets
and
even more influential.
that's one of those things, man. They never were a huge band. There's no fucking radio hits on any of this. How the fuck did they sell out? They didn't sell.
Exactly, they didn't
but
sell. I mean, it
but I
modestly,
guarantee you,
but
your
what?
favorite musician loves these people. They're your favorite musician's favorite musician, and that's something we say on this show all the time about a lot of the stuff we love.
It's kind of
They're
like the
just
Velvet
important.
Underground. So where they didn't sell, but the people who bought the albums started a band.
Yeah,
The
they
people who
matter.
bought New Day Rising started bands
Fuck yeah,
eventually.
dude. That's what
Guys
I'm
in Nirvana,
saying.
big time. You know,
Yeah,
they they
they
they yeah.
yeah. No radio hits
No,
here, but fuck, man, they inspired everyone.
no radio hits until we get to the follow up, man. So released in 1985. Let's see. First, second, third, fourth album overall, Flip Your Wig.
Flip Your Wig,
September 1985. First of all, before I talk about this album, it blows my fucking mind. Fun fact, within a 14-month span, you get Zen Arcade, New Day Rising, and this fucking album.
Damn.
God damn, man. 14 months?
Take a fucking break.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oh my God.
These days it takes everyone 3 years to do anything. It's insane. Good Lord.
14 fucking months. So
God.
last one on SST.
What a great stat. Well done.
Yeah, the hardcore era is over from this point forward.
Yes.
There's some heavy moments on here.
That's what I'm saying though, but like I said, there's always this little bit of grit still there, man. There's still just a little dirt to it where it's not completely clean yet. It never does.
A little bit of grit.
I keep waiting for that shit where it just comes out just overtly polished. And I'm like, but it never happens. It never happens. I'm like, no, it still sounds like them. It's just,
it's cleaner. It's a little
mature
more
songwriting as we go because they're fucking older. Well, not much older, but I act like they're 30 now or whatever, but they're probably not. It's only a couple years later.
It's like trimming your beard, right? You still have a little bit of gruff, but you're clean cut,
Yeah, man.
A little bit more clean, a little bit more presentable, quote unquote. But yeah, I mean, I didn't mention New Day Rising, Celebrated Summer is my favorite song on that album.
Fair enough.
Throwing that out there.
Books on UFOs, books about UFOs for me. Oh,
incredible track. Incredible track.
Pure.
So Flip Your Wig.
Pure perfection. Pure pop perfection right there.
Speaking of pure pop perfection, so Flip Your Wig kicks off with the title track, which is my favorite song on the album.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, this is the only song in their catalog to feature both Bob Mould and Grant Hart on co-lead vocals.
Oh.
Each one.
Yeah, they've always been kind of separated, it seems like. Yeah.
Yeah, always separated. Each one wrote their own songs and they sang it. Whoever wrote it sang it.
Yeah.
But Bob Mould gets a verse on this song, then Grant Hart, and then towards the end, Grant Hart with the backup vocals coming in clutch, man. Amazing track. Everything makes no sense at all is probably their first major fucking hit. And that song is a masterpiece. That's a great song.
I wrote down a favorite on this. I might have fucked up there.
Mine is Flip Your Wig, but Hey Paper Doll.
Well, let me go through my notes a little bit here and I'll see if I come up with something. The best-selling album up till this point for them.
Big time.
It's their last SST album before they start self-producing thing.
Yes, sir. And this was self-produced, I believe.
Yeah, this is the first. Okay, this is the first self-produced album. Sorry.
Yeah,
well, that's
by
dumb. I
Bob
wrote
and
both.
Grant.
What the fuck's wrong with me?
Yeah,
anyway,
Bob and Grant.
Yeah, so this is the first self-produced. Sorry, I was hot outside writing this.
Still on SST. You're absolutely right.
Baby Song.
I'm not holding it accountable to that. I will let it play. I will let it play and not skip it. I don't mind. Personally.
AV Club, which is some kind of fucking some kind of journalism bullshit, called it one of 24 songs that almost derailed a great album. They are part of it. Oh, they're part of the Onion. It's funny. But that's just
of course they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like you said, it's only a couple seconds. It's no big deal.
Yeah, pretty much.
Bob Mould said that this was their best album. Interesting.
I disagree, but okay.
Yeah, me too. Quite a bit.
I strongly disagree.
Like I said, there's obviously some pop sensibility here.
Big time.
Still not
makes no sense at all.
It still wasn't a major departure for me yet, though. It still was gradual. Still felt like natural progression, like I said.
Yeah.
There's nothing that changes so much that's drastic for me, especially from where we've already been at this point. I mean, there's acoustic songs on the other album. I mean,
absolutely. But there's a lot of good shit on this album, man. Makes no sense that I mentioned. Hey Paper Doll's great. Green Eyes is fantastic. Divide and Conquer.
That's an interesting take. Zen Arcade has so much there's a difference there. Zen Arcade has such a deep meaning and writing. It's like they're the wall, right? And this has Hate Paper Doll, which the lyrics, like Bob said, literally means nothing. Just the lyrics fit the melody and you just sang them.
No, but it's great though. Hey Paper Doll, I love. Games is heavy.
Green Eyes is great.
Find Me, Dude, is underrated.
Oh yeah, Flexible Flyer is great.
Love that track. Private Plane's cool, Keep Hanging On, and then the
Yeah.
2 instrumentals at the bottom.
But I'm about to say 2
With
instrumentals
him,
to close. Oh, that kind of bumped the album down for me. Not gonna lie.
they're good songs, they're
Yeah,
great
damn, yeah.
playing.
That's good.
I wish I had some grand vocals or
I
some.
think Flexible Flyers, what I ended up going with, is my favorite.
It's a great song. I love the Grand Hard tracks.
See, that's Grant again. See, so many of these songs are Grant Holmes songs that I'm pulling as
I
my
love,
favorites.
I love, I love Grand Hard. He's one of my favorite drummers of all
And
time.
that's what I'm saying. So this thing for you generally, that's why I opened up the way I did. I know you're a drummer, so Grant Hart's your guy. I'm not a
Grand
drummer.
Hard's
I'm not a drummer, so I didn't pick up on a lot of what people love about him. As far as drums go, I probably should have paid more attention to that. I was just blinded by Bob Moulds' guitar because I'm a guitar guy, and that's where I
right.
got
He's
lost.
in he's in that caliber of a Neil Peart where he plays drums. He's a great drummer, right? He writes lyrics
Yeah.
and he writes his own songs. Like
Yeah,
he's
but I'm
got
talking about like
Grant's
drum.
got
I'm talking about purely just on his
yeah,
instrument drumming. Like, where's
on a
his
drumming
inspiration on
level,
that for you? Like, what should a drummer listen to Grant Hart for
a
as a
drummer when
drummer?
I mean New Day Rising for is a clear the title track is a clear showcase of his great. That I would say if we're going on Flip Your Wig, makes no sense at all. It's got some incredible drumming. Divide and Conquer, one of Grant's greatest drumming performances, in my opinion. Find Me is very different, very kind of waltzy, like a 6/8 time
Yeah.
signature,
Yeah.
standard waltz. Very good drumming though. It's gonna get better. I will point that out in a second as far as what you should look out for. Let's get to the next album because I want
No,
to
hold
talk
on.
about
I was
Kenny.
I was gonna say there was I don't know for anybody watching the video, there's like fireworks behind you. It's fucking this shit popped me.
Five what?
There was like fireworks behind you. Shit. It was
Oh,
amazing.
fireworks. I'm in my room actually.
It was on the
Probably my
effects. I don't
fan.
know what the fuck happened, dog.
It's
Like
weird, but
it was so um but and that's what I'm saying, like you have all that knowledge of his drumming and when you listen to Bob Moulds guitar playing, you're not probably noticing all the shit I'm noticing on that either. Because Bob's like he's not fucking Steve Vai or something, right? Like he's a huge
no, no,
instrumental,
no, no, no.
he's a huge inspirational person to people on guitar, but you listen to it and it's like this doesn't sound all that special unless you know what you're looking for. He's very much
Yeah,
like a simple approach to things. He's very rhythmic and shit.
his
Even
approach to
said in his
writing is
solo stuff, he really
impeccable.
didn't like doing guitar solos. It's not what he does, man. But that's not, for him, what makes him so important a lot is his guitar tones, that he achieves
His
and
songwriting.
his
Yep.
ideas, like I said, with, throwing, chorusy stuff on distortions and like, got his playing approach to playing is so strummy and different. Like he's not playing like power
Yeah.
chord, fast punk shit. Well, not later. But his
Yeah.
stuff is more like almost like you're playing an acoustic guitar. The way he approaches it, has these big old bar chords that are just real huge and strummy, and it's just crazy sounding. It's
Oh,
so
absolutely.
cool.
If you want to check out some of Grant's best drumming, I highly urge you to check out on YouTube. Look up Husker Dü live performances. Specifically, they do a cover of Ticket to Ride by the Beatles live,
Mhm.
which is incredible.
You shared
I
that
know
to
that's
me.
your favorite
I
Beatles
was
song.
somewhat disappointed in it. I remember you being
You
mad
were
at me for
disappointed. Go,
it.
go, revisit it.
I
You,
probably
you, you might.
my problem with that is
It's your
like
favorite
like
Beatles song.
it's my favorite Beatles song, and there's a reason for that because like there's things that make Ticket to Ride special that I feel like they didn't
Yes.
do.
No,
Like,
absolutely not.
Ticket to Ride's all about the vocal harmonies. I mean, they didn't do
Oh
that. It's
yeah,
live. It's a mess.
it's
And
sad. Yeah,
it's just them. It felt more like instead of them covering Ticket to Ride, they were just covering like, hey, let's do a Beatles song. That's what it kind of felt like.
yeah.
But
But
I might be
I
wrong
think
about that.
yeah, Grant Hart sings it. So because of your, our love for Grant Hart, you might appreciate it more looking
I
back
should
now.
go
But
back.
they did a live album called The Living End. There's a live album. We won't mention in the ranking, but they do a version of Sheena's a Punk Rocker by the Ramones on that. It's got great drumming, and I believe Grant Hart also sings it,
Okay.
which is a great. It's Ramones. I mean, there's no Ramones, there's no Husker Du.
Yeah, that's
That's why they.
they actually. I remember fucking with you about this when you hated the Ramones. I'm like, you worship Husker Du. They literally started as a Ramones cover band.
Yes, they did.
Very
Yes,
early
they
on, like
did.
very early on, they were a Ramones cover band. Sort of, they threw in some other stuff, but like they
Yeah, I
basically
gave them.
just mostly covered Ramones songs.
Yeah, I gave Ramones a lot of shit. I mean, I still really like them. I've always loved Leave Home. Long story short, I love them now. They got me into punk,
Yeah,
obviously. So that I,
I was like,
I
you
hold them in high
fucking like
esteem.
Husker Dü. They were a fucking Ramones cover band. Jose, what the fuck?
They are, of course, and I've always acknowledged that. There's no Ramones, there's no Husker Du. It's simple. But their next album,
Next album.
released on
Oh
March 17th, 1986, Candy Apple
man,
Gray.
yeah, Candy Apple Gray,
Major
self-produced.
label debut
Yeah,
on
major
Warner
label time,
Brothers.
baby.
Major label time. The
Oh,
way this kicks off is weird. It kicks off with Crystal, which is a heavy track.
crystals, man. Don't
Crystal's fantastic.
don't want to know if you're lonely. Ooh.
Oh, if it wasn't for Pink Turns to Blue and oh man, if it wasn't for Pink Turns to Blue, this would be Grant's masterpiece song.
Yeah,
Besides that song, I think Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely is Grant's greatest
I
song. That
wrote
that
down
track.
sorry somehow is my favorite on here.
Sorry
Uh
Somehow is great. I
oh
love that
man.
song. All This I've Done for You, the closing track. Oh,
And I actually put in a little note here. Maybe second favorite
ah,
song besides UFOs and Pink Turns to Blue. Sorry, somehow was really high up there for me.
I love that song.
It was
I
really
love
high up
that
there. That
song.
one
Yeah.
grabbed me that day.
Yeah.
uh,
Hardly Getting Over It is a beautiful ballad written by Bob Mould. Dead Set on Destruction. Oh, I love that, man. That shit is catchy, dude.
Here's
That's
another
Grant Hart through
line.
and through.
I don't know which song it's from. Maybe it's from Sorry, I'm not sure. But I wrote down a line that said, "Life can cut you, and I've cut you out of mine." Holy shit!
Oh,
Wow, what a
yeah.
lyric! God,
Yeah. Great lyric. I forget the
man,
song. I think it's Sorry Somehow. I
I think
think
it
it was,
was
but yeah.
too
Eiffel
far
Tower High is a
down.
classic.
Too
Too
far
Far Down is great.
down. Hardly getting over it. I feel
Dead Set on Destruction is great.
I feel like this song did what Flip Your Wig was trying to do, but better. That's just my opinion. I
Which
really
one there?
this album. I really love
Oh,
this
this
album,
album.
man. This album really just fucking grabbed me, man. It's 10 songs, man. It's just tighter, kind of
Yeah,
cuts the fat. It's just so goddamn good.
I
Every
agree.
time we do one of these deep dives, there's one of those weird albums that just kind of fucking grabs me. That I don't know if this one is, if any of their stuff is like looked down upon by anyone or anything like of the fans, like, that's their crappy album or whatever. I don't know if they have any of that specifically.
Not as
No.
far as I know. I
Okay.
embrace the later stuff
Okay.
with the early stuff.
I
I pretty much love it all.
I really love this
I
fucking album. Candy Apple Gray
y-
just grabbed the fuck out of me.
yeah. Yeah,
Really
Candy
did.
Apple Gray of these later ones is my favorite too.
Yeah,
I
I
do
think
love
out of
Candy
the
Apple.
whole more melodic period, I have, yeah, way up there. I
Candy Apple Gray
love
is a
this
great
album.
album.
Love this
Oh,
album. God, this album's
we'll
so
get to
good.
Ken we'll get to Candy Apple Gray in my
Now you
ranking,
know
but
why my
it's
ranking at the top was just so hard to do. 'Cause
oh man.
this is so good. But this
Yeah.
album really grabs me, man. I'm trying to.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
still
released March
second
17,
guessing my fucking
that was
ranking.
released March 17, 1986, again self-produced, I believe.
Yes, sir.
Bob and Grant. Yep. First
Self-produced.
major yep, the first major label debut.
I noted that. Like, I
Leads
think it was pretty nuts for them to self-produce something on their first major label. Who? Like, I'm
but
surprised the label let that even happen.
they did a good they did a good job though.
Like, how does the
I
label be like, okay, wow, that's
it's
tough.
weird because
A lot of respect
they're
there.
again, yeah, we talk about natural progression. I looked at an interview by Bob with Bob Mould. I think it was in the Amoeba Records, and he mentioned, and so did Greg, confirmed it too. They signed to Warner Brothers, but Warner Brothers gave them creative freedom to do whatever they wanted. And Bob was like, "Say no more." So they produced it themselves, and
Yeah.
they did a hell of a job.
Yes.
They did a hell of a job on Kenny Apple
Absolutely.
Gray.
This album is so good. This is what they needed, man. Like I said, this one
Yeah,
less songs, but all the songs are great. You know what I
all
mean?
of them
Like
are
this is
great.
really tight. This is their tightest album
Yeah,
by far. It's super,
it's
super,
tight. Yeah.
super. As far as like the more melodic, like we're really writing songs here, shit. Like this one's
Yep.
really tight, man.
Yep. 10 tracks, but again, Grant Hart just keeps going up and up in the songwriting
No
market.
fucky roundy on this album.
Exactly. But unfortunately, on January 19th, 1987, the band released their final release
Final album.
ever, and they're a double album, mind you,
Another
called
double album.
Warehouse Songs and Stories. So this one I really, really enjoy.
Okay.
I don't look at this album as bloated like a lot of double albums. I think this works for what they've accomplished. I look at this album as, this sounds weird because it's basically Grant Hart versus Bob Mould at this point.
Yeah.
This
That's where I
this
wanted
is
to get to.
Yeah, this is the peak of Grant Hart's drug usage, which led to their breakup. Hence
Yes.
this album.
Yes.
And Bob was like, "Yeah, you ain't getting more than half this album, buddy."
Correct. Yeah, I have that note. And he said you will
Yeah,
never have more than half an hour. And I think that's damn fair. Why should
yeah.
he?
Honestly, I mean, if I'm being honest, do I think they could have gone beyond this album? Not really, man. I think they went out on top when they did.
Okay.
This is a good album to go out on.
Yeah, that's fair.
And again, yeah, I don't dislike anything on this album. I guess their final hit is on here called "Could You Be the One?" That was the big hit on this album.
Right.
Kind of like an alternative rock classic, but my favorite song on here, damn, probably Too Much Spice. Probably that one. Either that or These Important Years. The opening track is really good. So is Charity, Chastity, Prudence, and Hope. That's a great track.
Yeah.
Ice, Ice Cold Ice is good. There's a song on here called, I just had it right here. What was it? These Important Years I mentioned. She's a woman and now he is a man.
Yeah.
Catchy. Love that track.
Yeah.
But again, that's all I gotta say. I really like this album. Do I like it more than Flip Your Wig? You'll find out in the rankings. But what do you have to say about Warehouse?
So here's where I was like, I don't understand what the fight was about. I don't know. They were growing together. They're both doing the same thing. What the fuck is the problem?
Grant Hart, Grant Hart had a lot of drug and alcohol problems.
I get that.
More than these guys ever, more than Bob Mould and Greg, which they're not
But
saints either.
what I'm not
But
understanding, with what Grant's mad at is like, it's not like, one guy was like, no, I want to stay hardcore as fuck. And the other guy's like, I want to write pop melodies. Like you're doing the same shit. You're going in the same direction. You're growing together the exact same way every album. What's the fucking problem? I just don't understand.
I agree 1,000%. Apparently he sounds sloppy on here, which I don't think either one of these three guys sounds sloppy on this album, man. They're all just
Why would he want more than half the album? They've always kind of split things up and like written their songs. I don't understand what the problem is here.
You know what it is? I just when you have two powerhouse songwriters in one band, it's a major problem, man.
Of course.
It's a
It's
a
gonna
major
happen
problem
eventually. It's a story as old as time. I just just the way that they grew together. I was getting to this part, and I'm like, I don't know what the fucking problem was. They were going the same direction the whole time. Like,
yeah,
what's the argument for? I only feel like, I might be wrong. I only feel like this song has 20 fucking songs on it because one guy will write one, he's like, well, I'm gonna write one. He writes one, I'll write one.
Yeah,
more.
basically, you write one, I'll
It's
write
like,
one.
too much.
Yeah.
I did feel like this album was bloated, personally.
Did you really?
Yeah, a little bit.
I like it.
I'm not saying I don't like it. Luckily, and I wanted to get to this part eventually too. Luckily, it does seem like Bob and Grant got to make up right when Grant was passing away. He was sick, and they did reach out. And it's sad that from this time in 1987 to that time in 20 whatever, they had not talked, honestly, and that's horrible. But at least they were able to straighten that out before he passed away. That's good.
I think they did the live show together. Like it was both of them on acoustic guitar.
Yeah.
They did some stuff live together, post Husker Dü.
Okay.
And beyond this, obviously, Bob had his solo career, but before that, he did a band called Sugar.
Yes.
In between his solo career
and
after Husker Dü. Yeah, we'll get into that shortly. And then Grant Hart did Nova Mob, and he had a solo career.
I'll also be getting to
that. Yeah, and Greg, kind of ditched music. He became a chef.
Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Became a chef. Never been to
Oh
any of his
man.
restaurants, but apparently,
Oh yeah.
he's a good cook, supposedly. So
I put down Charity's really good song. It's full blown
yeah.
pop writing now. It's great
Oh yeah.
though. Not a bad thing. The grit's still there, like I said. It's not super overly polished. For such a split
Very
album, they were writing separately, but that's the one thing too. Even though, and I think not even just to this album, but overall in general, they always seem to write very separately, but still have one sound, and that's pretty
yeah.
different, right? Like you don't see that very often
Yeah.
for bands that, like you said, do have more than one great songwriter. Usually, when they write that separately, you can tell. But
Oh
listening to
yeah.
this, it all just sounds the same. It's Husker Dü front to back, no matter who's writing what.
Yeah.
Again, it's all going the
Exactly.
same way. It all has this one uniform, amazing sound, even though they're so separated and so
Exactly.
bitter, and you can't hear it. You
It's
don't
got
hear
that
it.
classic Husker Du song that you're like, well, who wrote
That's
this?
so crazy to me, man.
Yeah. It just blows my mind.
That's why I
Unfortunately,
wrote at the
they
bottom. And
just
it's like, what are they not agreeing on? This whole album's solid.
yeah.
It has one solid uniform sound. I'm so confused at what the problem what is here, but I had a lot on
Unfortunately,
here.
like I
My
said,
only problem out of 20 songs, like quite a few of these songs are kind of just okay. Not better than the albums I really like. It is better than Flip Your Wig, I think. I'm not sure. That's what I wrote
yeah.
down in here. I'm not sure if I kept it that way or not. We'll get to that later. I might have spoiled some of my rankings, although that could have changed.
Oh yeah. No, we'll get to the rankings. I might piss some
20
people off,
songs
but
definitely killed it for me. Visionary is good. She Floated Away. Not an original melody, but a great song.
I like that song. Bed and
Not
Hills is good.
Yeah, it's great. Not Peculiar, Tell You Why, and Turn It Around. All great songs. I didn't really
Yeah.
write a
And
particular favorite.
Could You Be the One is like a classic power pop, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it. Cheap Trick sounding song, you know? Very
indeed.
Cheap Trick sounding album.
Yeah,
Which I don't mind because I love Cheap Trick. So, but Husker Du just has a sound. This is
they do.
basically alternative perfection is on it. I mean, whether or not you want to call it punk, this album in
Oh, definitely.
particular, I mean, classic alternative, yeah, just classic sort of Meat Puppet style punk in a way.
I love that. Love that.
Another great band. Like I said, start off heavy but ended on a solid note.
Absolutely.
Little not as heavy as before, but
That's a band I'd love
it's
to
just
dive all the way in on. That'd be fun.
oh yeah, Meat Puppets is a different beast unto its own, but I
That'd be
love that
cool.
band too. Yeah, sadly, like I said, their last album, and they all
Yeah.
went their separate ways after this,
Yeah.
which is a
We'll get
shame.
to the
But
separate ways after a while. Oh,
oh
crap.
yeah,
Hold
absolutely.
on a minute. I'm going to have to take a
So
second.
yes, sir.
Oh,
Gotcha. So all right,
we are back to recording. Sorry about that. Technical
all good.
difficulties.
Technical difficulties. What else is new?
Production and engineering.
Exactly.
So now it's time for album rankings.
Yes.
Oh man. So I'm gonna let
And
you start off there.
we may or may not rustle some Jimmys. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah,
So
oh definitely. Mine, if
all
anything,
right.
will probably just confuse people.
Yep. So preface, like we said earlier, I'm including the two singles. So I'm gonna do 10, 9, and 8 since there's
Yeah.
eight total.
I didn't do the singles.
And yeah, we'll go from there. I'll just run through them. My number 10, oh man, I'm gonna piss someone off. I've made no bones. This has always been my least favorite Husker Du album. I said on the Facebook page. You know where I'm going with this. My number 10, bottom of the barrel, still 10 out of 10, is Flip Your Wig.
Okay.
Flip Your Wig. I don't know what it is, man. I think I just know these songs too well. So I never go back to this album. But again, for a flawless record to be my number 10, my bottom pick,
Mm.
not very many bands could say that. They have an album as good as this. Like I said, Flip Your Wig, my favorite song on the album. Makes no sense at all. Hey Paper Doll, Green
Mm.
Eyes, Divide and Conquer, Games, Find Me. Yeah, it's got Baby Song, but I won't hold that accountable. Still cool. Flexible Flyer, and on and on and on. Great album, my number 10. My number 9, I'm gonna go with Warehouse Songs and Stories.
Okay.
And again, great album. Their last one, unfortunately, but chock full of really classic Husker Du tracks. These Important Years, Charity, Chastity, Prudence, and Hope, Could You Be the One, Ice Cold Ice, Too Much Spice, Friend You've Got to Fall, Bed of Nails, Actual Condition. I mean, the list goes on and on. And my number 8, I'm gonna go with the first, the first single, Statue / Amusement. We mentioned earlier, only 4 tracks. Statue is my favorite song. Amusement, Writer's Cramp, which is cool, and Let's Go Die.
Mm-hmm.
Straightforward, hardcore, love it. That's 10, 9, and 8. So your number 8.
My number 8 is Land Speed Record. It's, if I was like 12 or 13, it'd probably be my favorite above everything else because it's just so fucking hardcore and stuff. But there's just not enough variation there for me. And I find everything else past this, it's just, there's well-written songs. I'm not saying that there's no well-written songs on there. I just can't tell. Everything's just pummeling. And I love that. I appreciate that. But I guess I'm just old now and appreciate the actual songs. So Land Speed Record.
Oh, no, I got you. It's a
Land
good
Speed
album,
Record's
but...
kind of just sit at number 8. Nothing wrong with it. It's fucking amazing. It's fast as shit. It's awesome. Love that. I just liked everything else a little more.
Yeah, something's got to go at the bottom. So
Land Speed Records is
but
number 8.
So that's your number 8. We'll go to my number 7.
7.
My number 7 is going to be their next single, In a Free Land.
Okay.
Released in 1982. Again, only 3 songs. In a Free Land, one of my favorite Husker Du songs. Best song on that single. What Do I Want? Classic hardcore. And MIC, or Mike, however you want to pronounce it. Balls on hardcore. Only 3 tracks to choose from. They're all fucking good. That's my number 7.
My number 7 was Flip Your Wig. I agree across the board with whatever you said there. It's at the bottom for me from everything else. Yeah. Flip Your Wig. Nah, I agree. Out of all that stuff, it just kind of sits at the bottom. Yeah, just not as good. There's great stuff on it though.
Yeah. To me, it's flawless, but again, it's my least favorite. Always was, always will be.
Yep.
Number 6, you already mentioned it. It's Land Speed Record.
Okay.
I love
not that
Land
far
Speed
off.
Record, man.
I'm not that far
Yeah,
off.
not that far off. I love Land Speed Record, man. Again, balls out. You already said it. It's, if you're gonna call them a hardcore band, you gotta judge them off of this round because this is probably the only true hardcore album.
Yeah.
Just balls on, 0 melody out the gate.
Shows that they can do it though.
Oh, absolutely. I
they
mean,
can do it if they want.
Early version, absolutely, yeah. Early versions of some of the songs that will later be on their next albums.
Yeah.
I wrote down Bricklayer, which will later be re-recorded. Let's Go Die, which I believe was on the Statues / Amusement. That's also, that's a live version.
That's a classic.
But again, great album. Just top shelf Husker Du. So that's my number 6. What's your number 6?
Mine would be Warehouse Songs at number 6. Like I said, for me it was a little bloated, but I did like it more than Wig. But it's great, better songs than everything else so far. But it does kind of sit at the bottom of the, everything else. Just the overall
oh yeah,
more melodic period, I would say. I think Wig was probably the bottom of that, and Warehouse just sits just a little bit above it. I think the good songs are a little bit better, and I think Wig just has some good songs, but a lot of it just kind of, nothing super stand out,
And it's crazy because a lot of people find Flip Your Wig to be their best album, but
not
me.
No,
not me. No,
not.
Everything else they did is better.
Towards the bottom for me too, especially with considering everything else coming up.
But I do love it. I do love it. It's just my least favorite. Something's got to go at the bottom. Sorry.
Agreed.
Top 5, man. The number 5. Oh man, this is where Candy Apple Gray comes in at number 5. Far and away. No, again, have an affinity for the early stuff so much. That's why it's only a number 5. It's my
Yeah.
favorite album. It's my favorite album of the last 3, bar none. I said it on the Facebook group page. Kenny Applegray's always been my favorite. Crystal, fantastic. Don't want to know if you are lonely is in my top 5
Oh,
Husker Du songs
oh,
ever. Fucking
so good,
masterpiece.
dog.
I don't know for sure. Sorry somehow.
Sorry,
Hardly
somehow,
getting
man.
over it is beautiful, man.
Sorry,
Dead
somehow.
Sound Destruction. Catchy as all hell. Eiffel Tower High. No Promise Have I Made. I forgot to
Mm,
mention Too Far Down. Too Far Down's good. All This I've Done for You.
mm.
Man.
This
I love that fucking song, man. But Don't Want to Know If You're Lonely is my
album crushes,
top
bro.
pick. That album
Album
rules, man. But
crushes.
again, I like 4 others
Crushes.
better. But Kenny Applegate, their best later day period album,
Yes, sir.
hands down.
Yes,
That's
sir.
my number 5.
Yes, sir.
You're number 5.
This is where everything falls apart for me, Lance.
Okay.
Again, when you talk about songwriting and everything that's great about these guys, uh, this one is just kind of like just really good all along. But again, I don't have like super standouts through it, as opposed to everything above this that like I have songs where I'm like, oh my god, like everything from here on out, especially is just super inspirational and shit. And this one and the next one I actually had scratched out and reversed. So like these two could probably go hand in hand. I don't know. And the next one's too low, also, to be honest. So, but again, everything
Yeah.
from here is just so goddamn good. I don't know, and that's a
Oh yeah.
compliment. I just don't know what to do. But I'm
So
gonna stick with it. I'm gonna say Everything Falls Apart at number 5. Although I second guessed that so much, I went back and listened to it again at the time, and like, no, I still felt the same. I kind of punched it up above another one at the time, but then I went and rethought that. I'm like, no, I can't do that. So,
yeah.
and I'm gonna put Falls Apart at number 5.
Mhm.
You'll
So good
see,
that it's my number.
you'll
It's my
see
number
why at
4
number
pick.
4. I'm gonna
My
get
number.
shit thrown at me for number 4.
Oh, it's okay. My number 4. It's so good. You said that because Everything Falls Apart comes in at number 4 for me.
Okay,
So Everything Falls Apart is a solid debut. You know, it's their first full length studio debut, even though Lance Free Records their first album, but Everything Falls Apart. The title track's an all-time classic.
I
But
did have it at number 4 for a minute
yeah,
before we
their,
turned cameras
their
on.
their cover of Sunshine Superman is great.
Oh,
I
it's so
love it,
good.
but
God, it's
it's
so
so
good.
good. But From the Gut is great.
Yeah,
Blah blah blah. Punch
yeah,
Drunk, Bricklayer, which was on Land Speed. It's
yeah.
now on
Yes, it
here.
was. Yes.
Afraid of Being Wrong. Wheels is an early Grant Hart classic. It's his only song on the album. Good song. The title track is my favorite, but I mean every song on here is great. It ends with Gravity, which Gravity, as the years go
Gravity.
by, is starting to climb up in the top rank of Husker Du songs for me. Not quite top 10,
Oh, it's really good.
but it's an amazing track. It's a really great song. So if you're gonna buy this album, buy it on the strength of Gravity, Everything Falls Apart,
Yo,
and to a lesser extent, Sunshine Superman, which was an early hit for them. So that's my number 4 pick. Everything Falls
gravity's
Apart.
gravity's fucking fantastic.
Gravity is phenomenal.
My number 4 is Zen Arcade. That's dumb, but that's why I had it. I actually had it flipped originally where I had Falls Apart a little bit over Zen Arcade. But I'm like, I can't have Zen Arcade at number 5. That's just stupid. It's dumb enough that I have it at 4. This is all recency bias, I'm sure. Like I told Jose, this is why I probably should have mentioned this, and this is why I'll mention it now. I did not live with these albums my whole life. You know, these albums have not been sitting with me for 20 years. I just deep dived it at work on breaks and listened to these things back to back. And it's a lot to take in at once. This is a lot of greatness at one time, people. and and I'm a lot older now and I appreciate different things about music. So it's a lot to take in, like the hardcore era and all these things at once. And I'm like, I'm just
Yeah.
falling in love with Bob Mould at the moment. and you know, and it just all this stuff has kind of hit me at one time. So it's really hard to rank, but I stand by it. And knowing me enough, I would go back and still feel the same way no matter what. So I'm gonna put Zen Arcade at number 4 because everything past this, I love that goddamn. They're the top 3, like you know how you are, where you know what your top 3 are gonna be. Like that's not gonna change. My top 3 here would not change. I know that. And
Yeah.
when we started this and we started a group, I did not know much about this band when we started the group. And this is one of the first bands I remember when we first started. You were posting up at Husker Dü, and I'm like, oh, I got to check those dudes out. I've always heard the name, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those first bands I started listening to that I didn't know shit about that I should have a long time ago, but mostly an old metal dude. So this is one of those bands back then,
I
and
grew up in metal
I
too,
went
so
straight to Zen Arcade because that's the one, right? And it was so amazing, and it was my
yeah.
favorite album going into this without question. And it says a lot to how great their shit is that my final rankings going in after listening to everything, it ends up being at number 4. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, that's how
I
great their
actually
stuff is.
yeah. I'm not mad for you ranking Zen Arcade at number 4 because we'll get into that much later. But
Oh, you'll get into it after you know
I
my 3.
yeah, we'll get into that much later. I'll get into my number 3 in a second. But I'm just saying I'm not mad at it because a lot of people don't have it at 2 or 3 or number 1 even.
For
It's
me,
how you look at these
again,
albums.
it falls at number 4 because now that I've listened to everything,
Yep.
there's some stuff in there that songwriting wise, because they're trying to do a concept albums are hard to have every song be great, right? Like you're trying to tell a story. So some things have to just kind of tell the story and get through. So
Yeah.
I don't want to say filler in there, but there's just some weird shit thrown in, you know, and it could be a tighter album, but not really because you're trying to tell a story. And
I feel like if
everything past
yeah,
this to me is songwriting perfection, and that is a piece of art. You know what I mean? There's two different things there. There's a difference
that part.
between, you know, a whole album of just like perfect songs versus something that's, you know, telling a story.
I never thought
So
of it that way, but when you put it like that, you put things into perspective, and you're absolutely right. It is an
that
art. It's a piece of art.
it is. Zen Arcade
Yep.
is not like every song is a banger. It's you know, it's not doing that. It's telling you a story. Like I said, it's there the wall to me. You know, but it's like a punk rock version of the wall. It really
I'll
is
take
because that's
Zener.
what the wall is.
I'll take Zener Kid over the wall, but that's just me. I love Pink
I
Floyd.
don't think I could do that now, but
I
I
love
couldn't
Pink
do that.
Floyd, but yeah,
No, I'm a
yeah.
massive Floyd dude, man. No, I couldn't
No,
do that.
me too. But
But I worship
more
at the altar.
more on that later.
There's a big stack of
Number
records back there, Pink Floyd. No, I can't say that, but it's the
where are we?
punk rock wall. I'll tell you that now.
Exactly. So my number is number 3.
Is number 3.
Number 3 is where
Oof.
Metal Circus comes in.
I might have to buy that
Me-
shirt.
Metal Circus is fucking perfection, man. Holy fucking shit. Normally, for me, I don't put EPs this high. Normally, for any band. There are
No,
some
yeah, straight
exceptions.
up.
There are some exceptions. This is one of the few exceptions because there's only 7 songs, but you want to talk about tight as fuck, man.
Yes.
Real World,
Yes.
Deadly Skies, out the gate, this shit is just like, oh my God. It's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
Grand Heart Perfection.
Classics, man.
First of the Last Calls is my favorite song on the album. My number 5 favorite Husker Dü song overall. I did a countdown a few years ago. That's in my top 5. Love that track. Lifeline. Ass whooping track, dude. Diane.
I
Diane is a very hard song to get through when you know the backstory based on a true
Yeah, we
story.
didn't touch
Basically,
on that too much, but Grant
yeah,
said he stopped performing it live because it bothered him because he felt
yeah. So
like people were taking it as like him holding it up a little bit, and it's like you shouldn't do that, you know. And he wasn't trying to do
yeah,
that from the beginning, but he's telling a story there, and it's
yeah.
about that lady being murdered and such, and
A lady who was a server, she's abducted, she's raped and murdered. It happened for real apparently, and
yes, yeah, that's real shit.
I
Yes, Is she the
a damn
same one
shame.
Dylan did a song about? I'm not sure. That's another thing I wanted to go look into because Dylan told a story about a very similar thing, but I don't know if it's the same lady or not. And I can't remember the
I think
song
that
it's based on. I don't think it's the same
I
one,
think
but it's a very
I
similar
think
thing.
Dylan was earlier, I believe. This
No,
is a
I know,
little
but I'm
later.
talking about like, is it the same person they're talking about in their respective songs? Are they talking about the
Mm-mm.
same lady? No, okay. I know
I think
Dylan
it's
did a song
different.
about a lady being murdered and stuff. I know it was like an African American woman who
Yeah,
was murdered and such. This doesn't mention that, so I
yeah,
figured it was probably a different story, but very
no,
same feel there.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. But Diane is a
yeah,
Grant Hart masterpiece, and Out
it
on the Limb,
is.
great track, another Grant Hart staple. Again, number three, Metal Circus.
Okay.
Oh man, I go back to this one a lot, but it's not my favorite. But it's close,
Hmm.
very close. That's my number three.
My number three is Candy Apple Gray.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
could be my number two, could be my number one. I don't know. But Candy Apple Gray, like I said, is just it's such a tight album. Everything's great about it. So many songs I love on there. And yeah. I have it it's in the top three. It is number three. Well written. The other two just mean a little more at the moment, I guess. But any of these three at any time could be, number one, two, or three, I guess. It's just also goddamn good from here on out. But Candy Apple
Candy
really
Apple
grabbed me.
Grays,
What a goddamn good album.
so amazing, man. Again, it would be higher, but a lot of these when I came in, it's about when you came in or what grabbed you
Yeah.
the most. In my case, where I came in, that's the stuff I gravitate to the most.
Sure.
But yeah, Candy Apple Gray is a
Yeah, I
10
have
out
that
of
one at
10.
number three for me, man. That album
Yeah,
grabbed the hell out of me.
it's in my top five. It used to be my number. It used to be a little lower. I used to have Land Speed over this one, but the more I listen to
I can
Candy Apple,
understand that too, man. Like I said, I
no,
understand
but
that if
can't
you appreciate the heaviness and shit, like I get that, man. But goddamn, Candy Apple's so well
no,
written. Like I said,
Candy Apple Gray is amazing.
if I was still 13 or 14, there's no way I would take, fucking Candy Apple over Land Speed Record. There's no way. But
No,
now,
can't. I like Candy Apple now better than Land Speed.
oh, by
Obviously,
a
it ranked
lot.
higher by a lot. Candy Apple Gray, as I get older, is becoming more and more important to me.
Yeah.
It's always been my favorite of the later stuff, but I digress. It's an amazing album. You're
Such well
absolutely right.
written songs, man.
Yeah, the songs, man, the songs are amazing. Ah, and
Anyway,
speaking of songs, so number two and number one,
number two and number one.
you know where I'm going with this. I'm gonna kick off with number two. A lot of days this is on the cusp of being my favorite, but it's only number two because there's only one album that's better. Number two is gonna be New Day Rising. New Day Rising is the perfect statement for this band. It's their Bridge Gap album. It links the early stuff, the early hardcore stuff, and the Flip Your Way, Kenny Apple Gray, and Warehouse sound, the alternative poppy power punk sound
Yep.
of their later stuff, of their later years. New Day Rising is amazing, man. It kicks off with the title track, which is just New Day Rising over and over and over again. Lyrically, it's super as simple as it gets, but it works.
Yep.
Girl Who Lives on Heaven Hill
Mm.
is a top 10 Husker Dü song,
Yes,
no
sir.
matter how you slice it. I apologize, dude.
Oh, I don't even know
Oh
if we
my
mentioned that
God.
first. Oh, I apologize.
I
Oh,
apologize
uh,
is, oh my God. I gotta stop myself, man. Folklore, great.
yeah.
If I told you, if I told you,
Mm-hmm.
celebrated fucking summer, man.
Books about UFOs.
So I have favorite Husker Du songs, which I'll get to eventually on my next pick. But if I'm being objective here, Celebrated Summer is the greatest song this band ever recorded.
Now,
Like this is probably Bob Moulds' masterpiece all across the board. It's just an amazing track. Celebrated Summer is my favorite song on
mm-hmm.
the album. It's a
Mm-hmm.
top three Husker Du track. but
So,
it's amazing. Perfect example. Great. In terms of psychic warfare, 59 times and
oh,
Powerline with the bass intro. Oh my god. Books about UFOs.
books about UFOs, baby.
Oh,
All of that because Rising is also my
ah,
number two.
yeah.
My number two
Rising
also.
is Rising is ah.
My number two also. Yep.
Mm.
And it was kind of my number one through a lot of this, but got overtaken by one piece only. The ultimate irony of all time.
It's it's a perfect fucking album. There's nothing wrong here.
Oh
And
yeah,
how to Skin a
Rising
Cat's still
Killer, man.
perfect.
And again, man, I don't know. It's so hard with Rising and Candy Apple for me, man. Oh, I could listen to
New Day
either at any
Rising for
time.
sure.
You know,
New Day Rising.
I
Candy
don't
Apple
know.
Gray is great.
Yeah.
Candy Apple Gray is here, but New Day Rising is like,
Mm.
yay! Oh my god.
It's a lot closer for
New
me.
Day Rising
A lot
it's
closer for
very
me.
close,
A lot closer for me.
but it's New Day Rising, man.
Yeah,
New
no, it
Day
is, and
Rising
that's
is
what I'm saying. I had to put it. I had to push it to number two. It is that, man. So
it's
yeah, it's
got
my
more
number two
songs on
also.
it, but every song works.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, great piece, fantastic. So all that's
The books
left is
about
number
UFOs you mentioned,
ones.
huh?
Yeah, it's my
Number
favorite song.
one,
Oh man,
it's no secret, man. You already know what number one is for me.
yes,
Number
yeah,
one is the one, the only Zen Arcade.
yep,
This is where I came in.
sure,
And what a way to kick it off. To me, this is their masterpiece. New Day
yep,
Rising is
it is.
great, but Zen Arcade for me, it just if I gotta stick to one Husker Du album, it's this one. Something I learned today was the very first song I ever listened to by this band. I said it on the early episode we did where we went through the discography. I'm gonna say it again. Great track. Broken Home, Broken Heart speaks to me on so many levels, on a
Yeah,
personal level.
totally.
There are things I like to say, but I'm never talking to you again.
Oh man,
Never talking to you again?
never
Come
talking to you
on,
again.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
Charter trips. Dreams
yeah,
reoccurring. Yeah, it's repetitive, but I still
yeah,
dig it.
yeah.
Indecision Time. Hari Krishna, good song. My least
Mm-hmm.
favorite on the album for sure.
I wrote it
Beyond the
down.
Threshold. Pride. I'll Never Forget You is a classic.
Mm-hmm.
The Biggest Lie is amazing. What's Going On's cool. Masochism World, great. Standing by the Sea, brilliant. Somewhere, cool. One Step at a Time, great intro to what is my all-time favorite Husker Du track, Pink Turns to Blue.
Thing turns to blue.
Pink Turns to Blue is their best song.
Yeah.
I know I said Celebrated Summer is the greatest thing they ever recorded, but my favorite, you said there's a difference between favorites and best.
Yep.
My favorite song of ever
Right.
of this band ever is Pink Turns to Blue.
Yeah,
Great track.
I can always separate my favorite of something, but knowing what their peak of something is. Yeah, Pink Turns to
Yeah,
Blue is the best thing they ever put down, I think.
Pink Turns to
Recording
Blue is
wise.
amazing.
Yeah.
But
But
newest
UFOs,
industry,
man, UFOs are just such a hook. Like, oh, he got me
UFOs
there.
is great. I love books about UFOs.
That's my favorite. It's
But
not
then
their
you get,
best. I know it's not their best, but
yeah,
that's definitely my favorite.
yeah. Monday will never be the same. Whatever. Tooth Fairy and the Princess. Turn on the News is an all-time masterpiece, and Reoccurring
Yeah.
Dreams.
Yep.
To me, not a skip, not a
Cool
skipper.
ass album.
Everything works on Zen Arcade. That's why it's on my number one pick.
Show us
My
that
favorite.
shirt, Jose. Show us that shirt
Your
real
number one.
good. Show us that shirt real good. That's number one right there.
I know it.
That's my number one. Metal Circus, man.
Really?
Yep. I don't usually do EPs. Glad I did.
Yeah.
That thing just set my brain on fire, man. It was the first thing in their discography that really truly grabbed me and inspired me. And like I was saying and rambling earlier, just made me want to go home and play guitar. It's short, sweet, and to the point, crushes. It has a little bit of both of the hardcoreness and has a little bit of that great songwriting in there. It's melodic when it needs to be.
Yeah.
It It's everything I love about Bob Mould. it,
And Grant
it's all
Hart.
that guitar styling. It's the guitar tones on there are fucking sick. His guitar tone is
Hmm.
so sick. His playing style is so cool. It made me deep dive beyond listening to music. I'm like, nah, dude, I want to know what this dude's doing. Like as a guitar player, like I'm
Yeah,
going home and I'm figuring this shit out. Like I'm going, I got a modeling amp where you can like I
yeah,
have everything on there where I can create presets and shit. Like I'm going home and I'm making fucking
yeah,
presets based on what this dude has done. And like I'm not the type of dude that chases guitar tones in a sense. I want to do exactly what he did. I don't do that, but I want to like take the ideas and see what I come up with those ideas, and that's what I was able to do with it, and it led me to some cool places. It brought me to different approaches to playing guitar, and that's cool, man. I don't get that much. There's not a lot. I started. I'm 42. I started playing when I was 13, and there's not a lot now that brings me there, and this totally did.
uh,
Listening to Metal
me-
Circus totally made me just like be 13 and want to figure out what's going on there and play all over again. And
yeah,
god damn, that shit's so good, dude. I'm gonna go buy that shirt you're wearing.
yeah. Real World, Deadly Skies, and Lifeline. Oh my God, those
Real World, dude. Real World is a
Real World's
masterpiece.
incredible.
And
First
again,
or
it's
last
not
cause
it's
is
not so
nothing.
much, although the song itself is great and the lyrics are great. For me, it's just
But the
more just as a guitar nerd. Like
no the good
If you're a Bob Mould guitar worshiper, man, Real World is a lot of where that's at. As I
yeah,
was digging through and looking for stuff, that's what a lot of people were saying and stuff. And that's what grabbed me, so I knew I was on the right track. I was like, yeah, no
oh
shit.
yeah,
What's he doing on that track, guitar wise? And that's what I
the
did.
Lifeline. I love Real World, man.
So
But
yeah,
yeah,
Metal
it's not
Circus.
funny.
If I have to include EPs, Metal Circus would be my favorite. This Husker Dü, man.
Metal Circus is probably the one I play the most nowadays because
Totally
it
grabbed
just
me.
it just doesn't let up, man.
What a guitar
None of these
player.
do. None of these early ones do, but Metal Circus in particular just does not
Well,
let
that's what
up,
I'm saying,
man.
and it's that perfect balance too, where it is still kind of hardcore, but it does have a little bit, and it's
It's got a
getting
lot
there.
of melody, man.
It's melodic, it's heavy.
Yeah,
Uh,
specifically the Grant Hart songs. It's not funny anymore. It's melodic as
yeah,
shit.
as I'm saying, man, there's some classics on that album, man. It's just so damn
Yeah,
good.
Diane's super melodic for being a very
Yeah.
dark song. Melodic. Out on a limb as well, but then you get, it balances out with Deadly Skies, which is just it's a barn burner. Real World's a barn burner. Lifeline, you want to talk about hardcore. Lifeline is just like a 1-2 kick in the balls type shit, you know?
Yep.
But yeah, that's the end of our rankings. So
That's rankings. I
yeah,
want
that's
to touch
rankings.
a little bit on solo stuff though.
Okay. Do you want to start
So
with Bob or
Husker Du has ended. I'm a kind of lay out what I did here. All right.
yeah. Okay.
Husker Du is over. So I'm like, I got a lot of time before we record this.
Right.
So I'm gonna start deep diving into some solo stuff from both. I want some Bob Mould stuff, of course. I also want to
Right.
know what Grant's up to because even though I'm worshiping at the altar of Bob Mould as a guitar nerd, like a lot of my favorite songs through the Husker Du stuff is Grant Hart songs.
Exactly.
So I want to hear everybody. So I came up with this thing, right? So I'm like, I'm doing a 5 point system. A
Hmm.
one means the album's just horrible. A number two is it's not horrible, but I definitely won't listen to it again. Number
Right.
three is like mid, it's fine. Number four
Yeah.
is it's damn good, and number five is mind fucking blown. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Nobody got a five.
Oh, okay.
No fives here. Because I've already blown my fucking shit on Metal Circus or whatever you call it.
Right.
I keep okay. Also, spoiler alert, in my head, I kept calling it like Metal Machine thing because of the fucking what's his name? Goddamn,
Lou Reed.
yeah, Lou Reed. I don't know why I kept calling
Lou
it
Reed.
Metal Machine in my fucking head like a moron, but
Two completely different schools of thought.
it's some
Okay.
different shit.
Oh
Not the
yeah.
same. But so I'm like, okay, so they don't have the same amount of albums, right?
No.
Because Bob
Mhm.
lasts a lot longer than Grant, sadly.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So I would listen to one album of one and I'd listen to one album of the other. I started
Yep.
with the bands and then I started with their individual solo stuff. And that's not exactly even either, but I listened to an equal amount of albums of both. Okay.
Okay.
And with Bob, I listened to all of Sugar, and with Grant, I listened to all of Nova, Mob. And then from there, I kind of split up Bob Mould and Grant Hart albums.
Hmm.
And that's just kind of what I did. And I'm like, for my little points there, I awarded points to the albums at that point. Okay. So that's a fun
Right.
with this. But Sugar, man. Oh, Sugar's so goddamn good. Uh,
Sugar's great. Yeah.
oh, Copper Blue.
Underrated.
Copper Blue should have got a 5 if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
If I can't change your mind on oh oh
Yeah. Pure bomb all perfection.
Bob
Classic.
Mold has Bob Mold has songs that I think are better than some of the stuff in Husker Dü. I cannot say the same
You
for
think so?
Grant. Yes, I think there are better songs in Bob Mold's category that would be better than some of the Husker Du stuff. I don't say the same for Grant personally. I was a little disappointed in
No.
his solo stuff myself.
Yeah. A little.
So of Sugar, I did Copper Blue, which was a 4. Beaster, the little EP was I put it was a definition of a 3. It's fine, it's
Yeah,
a
it's
3.
good.
And Easy Listening, I put as a 4.
File, file under easy listening.
Yeah, File Under Easy Listening. I wrote this in shorthand, guys.
That's my favorite one, actually. I like
No,
that
yeah,
better than Copper Blue.
yeah, easy. Oh no, Copper Blue's my favorite. Easy
Copper Blue's
Listening.
great.
I wrote down here. I'm like, is this the Foo Fighters? Like the Foo Fighters had to be taking notes off of this shit. I don't know
Oh,
what
big
year they
time.
happened. I don't know what year
Big
they
time.
happened, but I was listening to this. I'm like, this is that completely perfect, like, just it's great background. Nothing's blowing me away, but goddamn, is it good? Damn good. It's a perfect number 4. It's just damn good.
Yeah. I don't mean to go back to Husker Du, but
Yeah,
the drum intro on New Day Rising, that's all Dave Grohl. Like he's made a career
yeah,
out of playing that drum pattern. So it makes sense, right?
yeah.
He listened to this band. I mean, there's no Nirvana without this band,
Yeah, no,
without Bob
this,
Mould. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, uh, especially Sugar. Sugar is
Yeah.
absolutely what. Even my son Dean, who we do episodes every now and then, he'll be on some of my drunk episodes and whatnot. Even he walked by and he was like, "Wow, this reminds me of that like 2000s radio rock. That's like not bad, not great. It's just kind of like really, really
It's
good.
there. No,
And there's
it's
nothing wrong with that.
way ahead of its time, dude.
Yeah, and he's like,
Way
yeah, it
ahead
sounds
of
like
its
that
time.
2000s like good radio rock shit. I'm like, yeah, this is like
Yeah.
1990 something. He's like,
It's
whoa,
just that
shit.
no one knows who Sugar is. Sadly.
Yeah, it's so good. Sugar is so goddamn good, man.
Sugar is great, man.
So then there's Nova Mob. Whew. Last Days in Pompeii was a 1 for me. I tried to put it at a 2.
Really?
Oh my god, that is
The first
bad.
album?
Yeah, it's bad.
I dig it.
It's
I
bad.
like the first album.
Um,
I don't love it, but I dig it.
this really felt like a guy who finally was like, I can do whatever I want. And like he just
Yeah.
really went wild, and
Yeah.
that's cool. I respect his ambition. It just, man,
But
it wasn't
but he
I was
kind of
so
lacked the
sad.
motivation because he fed off of Bob Mould, right? Trying to one up him,
And
compete.
exactly, and
He wrote the better song.
that might be a thing.
Yep.
I felt like the end of his stuff. What I came to was I felt like when he had to write, when he knew he had to write, like, yeah, he kind of went wild, right? He did a lot of crazy experimental shit in Husker Du, but it still had to be a Husker Du song, right?
Exactly. It had
And
to fit.
when he had that constriction, it really elevated him. But when he was left to his own to just do whatever, it just wasn't as good. And I came to this also where I said in Husker Du, Bob Mould and Grant Hart are absolute equals. You know,
Yes.
they're absolute
Yes.
equals. But when it comes to solo stuff, not even close. Not even close.
No,
Bob Mould
no,
walks
Bumble for
him
sure.
out of the room
He
by a
wipes the
lot.
floor with Grant Hart
To
by
me
a country
personally.
mile.
To me personally.
No, I agree. I agree. I agree 1,000%. He wipes the floor with Grant Hart.
A
As far as
lot.
solo career, forget about it. Sugar alone wipes the floor with Grant Hart's entire solo
Yeah.
career. Sugar alone.
It's not even
Not
close.
even counting the Husker Dü stuff. Not even counting that,
No,
which they're both
I'm
equals.
talking just solo at
Yeah,
this point. I'm just comparing their solo
yeah,
stuff right now. It's all I
yeah.
did.
We haven't even gotten to Bum Mold solo, but Sugar alone wipes everything.
Oh, so
Wipes Grant
Sugar
Hart
is
off the
so
map.
goddamn good. And Nova Mob,
Yeah,
I put Last Days of Pompeii as a 1. I did originally have it as a number 2, but if I really had to be honest with myself, oh, it was hard to get through. The Shoot EP I did put as a 3.
I dig that one.
It
Yeah,
was good. I said it was
I
bad.
like that one.
I'm sorry. I said it was better. Ballad 19 is really good. Probably the best
Yep,
thing he's done.
he
Uh,
really grounded himself on that
I
EP.
really like Shoot EP. That was good.
Yeah,
I felt like I was starting to grade him at a curve where I'm like, I'm listening to Grant, I'm listening to Bob, right? And I'm putting some of his stuff at a 3 because for Bob it's like a 3. But I'm listening to Grant and I'm like, for Grant, this isn't horrible, you know? And it's starting to
yeah,
be like, well, I can't put him that equal because Bob's number 3 and Grant's number 3 isn't even close to the same world. So I
yeah.
had to kind of be honest with myself, and that's where I put Pompeii at number 1 at a 1 instead of a 2, because to be honest, oh my god, there's no chance in hell I'd listen to that again.
I like Grant Hart solo, but he's really
Oh,
front loaded where he wrote his best stuff with Husker Du by
yeah,
far.
definitely.
All his greatest masterpieces are with
And
Husker
I
Du.
feel like he really maybe that's what he resented. I don't know. Maybe that's where the argument came up where I was talking about earlier, where I'm like, what's the argument here? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it is what you said, where he's like, well, I gotta one up him or something. I don't know.
Yeah, they fed off each other.
It
It's kind of
did.
like the Lennon McCartney thing, where they fed off each other. I
It
don't mean to
did.
make that comparison because it's two different
No,
schools of thought, right? But
sure.
they fed off each other, and I equate Grant Hart's solo career to John Lennon's solo career, where John needed Paul and
Oh
Grant needed
yeah.
Bob,
Totally. Yeah, because Paul's
right?
solo shit crushes and Wings
Oh yeah,
crushes. Like Wings is like Paul's sugar. And Paul
yeah.
McCartney's solo stuff crushes. And John just
Oh my
like,
God.
it's bad. You
Yep.
know, there's good
It's
stuff in
very,
it.
yeah.
Good stuff in it,
Obviously,
but
Bob.
most of it's bad.
Yeah,
That's
most
really
of it's
fair.
bad.
That's really
And
fair.
Bob's got longevity. Same with Paul McCartney, right? It's very similar. How it's very crazy how history repeats itself,
That's
right?
so
Like I
good.
said,
Wow,
Grant needed Bob
I didn't see that at all. That's perfect.
and John needed Paul, and that's where
Absolutely.
that
Yeah,
Beatles
because in the
comparison
Beatles,
comes
they're
in.
fucking equals, bro. Like
Oh,
it's
they're
Lennon
equals.
McCartney all day.
Yeah.
But like in solo world, shit,
Oh my
not even
God. Yeah,
close, dog.
it's very clear
Not even
who's
close.
the
Yeah,
better artist. But yeah, I'll
yeah.
take Bob Mold
That's
solo
very
over.
fair. And
Yeah.
Bob didn't have to do anything special to crush him. You know, he's just
Oh,
doing middle of the road shit all the way across. Like I said, none of this is a 5. It's a bunch of 4s and like 3s in the middle of the road, but goddamn, is it good?
he's he's not even trying, dude, at this
It's
point.
just so
He's not
good.
even trying. And he's
But goddamn,
he's
Grant
killing
just
it.
has to knock it out of the park to get to a 3 for me.
Yeah. And
Bob
I
Mold's
think
solo itself, I did Workbook, which is his first. It's all acoustic, very interesting. Again, as a guitar player, I found this cool because it's like a acoustic album and stuff. Heartbreak a Stranger was really good. I ended up putting that as a 3.
yeah.
I did Black Sheets of Rain. I put that as a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I want to bring this up. All right. I know you hate country music, so you don't know this. I was listening to It's Too Late on Black Sheets of Rain. That little guitar riff on It's Too Late. I was listening to it. I'm like, this is a cover of something. I've heard this guitar riff before.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up chasing it down. It's like, oh my God, I know what this is. It's not a cover. In the country world, you know who George Strait is, right?
Obviously, yes.
Yeah. There's a song he did, not it's one of my least favorites of his huge songs, but it's a song called Check Yes or No. Everyone go listen to those two guitar riffs back to back. It is the same fucking guitar riff straight
I
up.
know what song you're. Yes, I'm not a country fan, but I know what song you're talking about. And yes, you're right. Yep, I hear it now. It's the same.
I know that
Same
because
thing.
I just noodling around a guitar one night. I stumbled upon that riff. I'm like, wait, what the fuck is that? And I realized it was that George Strait song, and I kind of got a kick out of it. Holy shit. And I
Yeah.
was listening to this. I'm like, that's that same fucking riff.
Well, yeah. I mean, you got to think about it. Around this time, Bob Mould was done with hardcore. He was listening to other shit, you know.
No, but this is
In
what
comes
this
the
is oh, I didn't write the years down. The Bob Mould song is like 3 years before the George Strait one.
right. No, I'm saying
So
like
George ripped off Bob Mould. That's cool as fuck.
well,
Or
obviously,
whoever's his song, because George never wrote shit. It's one of his songwriters.
no.
Whoever his songwriter is was a fucking Bob Mould fan. I can tell you that much. He totally
Oh,
lifted
facts.
that fucking riff.
Because Bob, I mean, we'll give to Bob's extensive career, but yeah, but Bob wrote his own shit. So
Totally. Yeah, George Strait does
yeah,
not.
no,
That's the one thing I always knock country for. They don't write their own shit. George Strait didn't write half of his hits.
yeah.
But whoever did write
Bob
that hit for him totally lifted that fucking riff for Check Yes or No off of Bob Mould. That's cool as fuck.
Bob definitely is the. I would say Bob is the brainchild of Husker Dü. Grant Hart's the heart and soul
Yeah.
because his that sound wouldn't be the same without his drumming. And Greg Norton's like the George Harrison of Husker Dü.
Yeah.
He's quiet. He just sits in the background and he does his thing and
Well,
does a
George
good
did a
job.
lot more though. He just didn't get the
No, yeah,
fucking love.
George did way. George wrote a lot of. George wrote a lot of stuff. A lot of great stuff after the Beatles.
Norton's probably more like a Ringo.
Yeah, Greg's not a writer. Yeah, exactly.
Greg's
But
more
he,
of a Ringo.
but a great
Everybody
bass
loves
player.
him, right?
But Greg Norton's a great bass player. But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Bob, Grant needed Bob.
I feel bad because we haven't
And
brought up Greg enough, probably.
Greg became a chef. But
Yeah.
shout out to Greg. You know, he's
Shout out, man. We shouldn't have
still
left
alive,
him out
still
so
with.
much. We keep talking about Bob and Grant, you know, and like, hey,
Yeah.
man. Shout out to Greg, bro. But
And rest in
the
peace to
other one I
Grant,
did was
obviously.
Blue
No
Hearts.
longer with us.
I jumped forward a little bit because Blue Hearts is one of his more modern albums that I had listened to before and I knew I loved and I wanted to re-listen to. So I added that to my little thing, and I had that was a number 3 also. Solid. I had heard it before, but I wanted to revisit it. So it was great. That's the Bob Mould side. The Grant Hart side. I did I think I want to say all of his solo stuff, at least most of it. Intolerance, I put as a 1. That one was really hard to finish.
Yeah, that's a tough one to get through.
It was bad.
He wasn't in the right frame of mind at that time.
Good news for Modern Man. I ended up putting it as a 2 because I originally had it as a 3, but I was looking at Bob Mould's 3s and I had to be honest, so I put it at a 2. Hot Wax I also put as a 2, but like a strong 2. I probably could put it as a 3, to be honest.
Yeah, it's okay.
I only put it as a 2 because of the I probably won't listen to this again type thing. And the song, I was like, what is he doing? School buses are for children. That's what really knocked it down to a 2. God damn, was that bad?
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And the argument I put as a 2 also. Out of Chaos is good. Yeah. Oh yeah, the argument, that album. The beginning of this album is really fucking good, and I was getting really excited. And I'm like, finally, fuck yeah, we got a good album. And then the rest of it, I'm like, what the fuck? This album
It's
sucks.
just by the numbers, yeah.
Oh, the beginning of this is so good, and the rest of it just no.
Yeah, it starts off great, but then it took some nosedive. Pretty hard.
I don't know, man. In the end, my score was 20-11.
Bob Mould's pretty consistent solo wise. He did a song a couple years ago, which was pretty heavy during the elections, like when Donald Trump ran for re-election. I think
I was starting to listen to more because I did that little thing of that just to get the scoring out of the way, but I was starting to listen to more Bob Mould albums because I had time. And I went to Body of Song was my next one I picked randomly.
We haven't mentioned it. within his solo run, Bob Mould, he wrote for WCW.
Now, yeah, that's fucked up. That's insane. Actually, we have a cool we have a pretty similar trajectory there in a weird way. And that's where it ties into some other shit I've been listening to a lot. In that he said at that time he had stepped away from guitar, kind of stepped away from
Yep.
music almost, and was chasing
Yeah.
electronic music and stuff. And
Yep.
that's where he ended up writing for WCW wrestling because he loved wrestling. I'm like, that's so fucking. He only lasted like a year because he got into it with other writers, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I kind of did the same thing, honestly, at a certain point. I was listening to a lot of weird techno stuff and like weird house stuff like when I was like 19 or so ish. I was considering
Mm-hmm.
selling my guitars and buying decks and getting into like that kind of shit. Because I was yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Like
It was that
I was
time,
in a very
KMF,
different
yeah.
crowd. Yeah, I was in a very different crowd at the time and was like interested in different stuff and was learning different shit.
Yeah, because that was the
And
era of KMFDM,
yeah, I
Ministry,
love KMFDM and shit. And
Static X, Orgy, very electronic,
yeah,
you know.
I was thinking about that kind of shit. And that's when I met James and he showed me fucking out of all things, he showed me Nile, that Catacombs of Neferin Ka. And it sounded
It's a
so much
great
like
album.
old school, sounded so much like old school Morbid Angel that it just totally sucked me back into metal. And I just stuck with the
Yeah,
guitar and shit. But it's kind of, and
yeah,
then we were just talking about Nile so much. It's an interesting tie-in right there from that.
yeah,
And I'm like, see, me and Bob got a
yeah,
lot in common, man. Good old Bob.
yeah,
But
yeah.
to
I
go back for
agree. I mean,
just for a second to that Body of Song album, at first it was kind of a two, but then I got to that song High Fidelity. It might be one of my favorite songs of his, period.
great track,
Oh, High
great
Fidelity.
track.
Wow. Didn't
I
want to
like that
leave
song.
that out. Go check out High Fidelity by Bob Mould.
I have that
That
on my
song
notes.
crushes.
It's a
Good
good
God.
song.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
it's a
can I
good song.
say? Overall,
Yeah,
man, amazing. This was such an amazing run. I'm glad we revisited it. Originally, I was pretty hesitant to double back because I like moving forward and doing shit we haven't covered yet. But for me, I
yeah,
hadn't covered it yet, so it kind of did make sense to do this, and I'm glad I did because again, I found stuff that inspired me on guitar and shit that I had not had in a long time, and it
oh,
was such a
absolutely.
great
And
run, such a great
it's an
fucking
interest.
run.
It's an interesting band because when it comes to scenes, because the U.S. is a big country, and there's different scenes. There's the East Coast, there's the West Coast. Obviously, there's the South, where Kenny is. Kenny lives in the South.
Way
But the
deep.
Midwest, where I'm at, not a lot of bands are, really talked about from the Midwest. There's not a lot of them.
Y'all got
These
some
guys are
good
from
ones that matter
Minneapolis.
though. The
Yeah, there's some good
Mats.
ones. Yeah, obviously the Replacements were from this scene, Soul Asylum early on, and this band. But I've always said that the greatest band the Midwest ever had to offer was Husker Dü. The Replacements, as much as I love them,
Oh,
they're
they're
number two.
pretty
They're
close. They're
great.
good.
They're very close, but Husker Du, you get Bob Mould, brilliant writer. Grant Hart, Jays. I mean, two great writers.
Man, I
Replacements
don't
have
know.
Paul Westerberg. Replacements have Paul
I'm about to
Westerberg,
say, I don't know, man. It's kind of
who
tough. I listen
it's
to a lot of
it's
replacements.
yeah, I do too. I do too. But you
That's
basically
tough.
take Bob and Grant, the two writers in the band, put them up against Paul Westerberg. Yes, it's a
Yeah.
handicap match,
Yeah.
but Paul can stand on his own. Paul Westerberg from the Replacements.
Yes, sir.
Who's gonna win? Like, who writes the better songs? It's just really tough because both these bands have amazing tracks, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, the greatest band that from the
Yeah.
Midwest
I think I'll give it to Husker Du
is
for sure. But
is Husker Du.
now that I've
And
been here,
again, spoiler alert, one of my top five favorite bands of all time. So it always feels great to revisit a band that means so much to me. To me, there's very few bands who have flawless discographies. This band is one of them. There's another band. There's a couple of bands I'm thinking of. Minor Threat and Fugazi, who never made a bad song or album. We'll get to them at some point in the future.
mm,
Spoiler alert, maybe. But
one show or another.
yeah, as much as I love the Clash, they're my favorite band, but I'm the worst critic for them because they got a lot of bullshit in their discography.
Then
But
that's
Husker Du
crazy,
doesn't.
right? Like a band that
But
has less perfections can still be favored over something that is completely perfect.
but Husker Du's consistent. They were so consistent. They started out heavy, they got softer, but they never compromised. They never sold out because they didn't sell anything, right?
No, I don't
And
think so.
the
Now,
records,
listening to this, they did not sell out, for fuck's
yeah,
sake. That's ridiculous.
and the records they did sell inspired the shoegaze, 90s shoegaze, which I love a lot of that stuff.
Sure.
My
Yeah. No.
Bloody
Yeah.
Valentine.
Yeah. We were. Matter of fact, the WCW thing came from Bob talking about it was that Amoeba doing the "What's in My Bag" video. Go watch that. That's where I figured out the WCW thing. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Bob wrote wrestling, but he was talking about Bloody Valentine and stuff, and
Loveless is an incredible album, man.
yeah,
Loveless is incredible. I like everything they've done, but all those 90s bands, I mean,
he was talking about that also.
no matter who you think of, I mean, I'm thinking Garbage, I'm thinking Nirvana, I'm thinking My Bloody Valentine,
Yeah.
fucking the Foo Fighters later on. They
Oh,
all their
definitely
career
Foo
to
Fighters, dude.
they
Like
they all their
listening to
career to
Sugar, I was like, this is a fucking Foo Fighters album, but better. Straight up.
big
It was a
time.
straight up
Yeah,
Foo Fighters album, but a lot
big
better.
time. Big time.
It's
I
the
agree a
exact
thousand
same
percent.
thing. It
But yeah,
sounds similar.
all those bands, Green Day, early Green Day, they all their careers to Blink. Or not to Blink, I'm sorry, to Husker Du. Fuck Blink. Not a fan of Blink. But
That's right.
not a fan of Blink.
Kurt
Not a fan
Cobain
of Blink.
owns his whole fucking career to Blink 182.
No, they
Once for
don't.
Blink 182, you wouldn't have none of that shit.
No, Kurt owes his career to Iggy. He owes his career to Iggy Pop first, and
To
then
fucking Tom
Husker Du.
DeLonge, that's who.
Exactly. No, but these guys were so ahead of their time. They inspired a lot of bullshit, obviously, a lot of
I
we
honestly
bag on the 90s a
can't
lot.
name anyone else from that band.
We inspire we talk, I mean, a lot of people make fun of the 90s. I like a lot of 90s bands, mostly in the hardcore realm.
I fucking hated
Most
that era at the time. I hated the grunge shit. I couldn't stand it. I was a death metal guy in the 90s. I
Alice in
hated
Chains and
all that
Soundgarden, I
garbage.
consider
Yeah, I do. I
Alice
did
in
love Alice in Chains. I did love Alice in Chains. Soundgarden could get me every now and then. The rest of it can go fuck itself.
To me, those are metal bands.
Yeah.
Alice and Soundgarden, they're metal
Yeah.
bands to me.
Matter
Alice
of
is
fact, I heard
closer to
Bleach. Because my brother was into underground. That's how we got there. I heard Bleach before anybody knew who Nirvana was, and I hated them then. I thought they sucked, man.
Nirvana's closer to punk rock than they are to obviously metal. They're closer to punk rock.
Totally.
They're closer to punk rock. So,
Totally.
but they owe their career. I mean, no Husker Du, no Nirvana, no,
Yeah.
you name it. On My Bloody Valentine, no Ride, no Rush.
My path through the 90s was fucking death metal as fuck.
Obviously,
Bro.
me too. mine was probably Pantera.
I didn't do goddamn fucking Nirvana and shit. I hated all that shit. It sucked.
I love
Fucking
Nirvana.
whiny bullshit. I want fucking great musicians kicking ass.
Everyone shits on Dave Grohl, but Dave Grohl is a drummer better than a guitar player. He plays better drums than guitar. Stick to drums,
Well, that's
Dave
for
Grohl.
sure. That's
Stick to drums. Because he reminds me of Grant Hart.
My only problem with
caveman.
Dave, I love Dave. Dave's a great guy. He gives a shit about music. He's awesome. My only problem with Dave has always been like he even, I mean, fuck, Dave has history in underground metal and shit. That's how he did a whole album with all those people, Napalm Death and shit. Like he has ties to all those dudes back in the day and shit. But if you love it that much, then fucking do it, But no, he did. He bitches endlessly about fucking radio rock and pop stars, and then fucking became one.
Yeah, you become what you eventually.
You can't fucking bitch about fucking pop stars and then play drums for the Zach Brown band on the fucking Grammys. Fuck you. You can't bitch about bland radio rock while being in the fucking Foo Fighters, because that's exactly what they are, bland radio rock.
Yeah. It's crazy how he started off in Scream, the hardcore band Scream.
Yeah.
Which blows my mind. Scream are legends, and then he obviously went on to join Nirvana, and then he just blew up from there. Obviously.
But other than that, respect the shit out the dude. He's a brilliant guy. He really loves music. He knows shit top to bottom. And for what it's
Oh
worth,
yeah,
is respected by absolutely everyone I look up to. So I can't say shit.
great drummer. Guitar
Yeah.
playing, I
Oh,
don't know. I but
guitar playing is pretty fair.
drumming wise, he's incredible. I wish he would drum more, but that ain't happening.
His guitar stuff,
So,
his guitar stuff itself hasn't blown me away, but I also haven't like tried looking at playing his shit or anything to be like, oh, nothing
he has
struck me.
he has played drums with for Bob Moulds solo band live. They did a cover. They did a
That's what I'm
cover of New
saying.
Day Rising, the
Dude's
song.
respected by everyone.
And look up Bob Moulds solo. He does New Day Rising with Dave Grohl on drums, and the way Dave Grohl hits those drums, it's like it's like it's like watching Grant Hart hit those drums.
Absolutely, because that's the
It's
school he
it's
went to,
literally it
bro.
literally it's 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 that school. Yeah, he's from that school. He's from that pack. He just hits those drums like a caveman. I'm like, fuck, I wish Dave Grohl would do
Yeah,
more of this shit because I
that
love
Dave
that.
does. Dave hits hard as fuck as a drummer, man.
Oh my god, because that's
Hits
when he's
hard.
happiest, man.
Yeah.
When he's behind that drum kit, I feel like that's when he's at his best, at
But
his A
up
game.
front, like Foo Fighters, why are we gonna fucking Foo Fighters? He's a great songwriter.
He's got a great voice,
He's got a great
but
voice. He's a great songwriter. He's a very capable guitar player. I won't bitch about that.
play those
He's
fucking
great.
drums. I mean, Grant Hart played drums and he sang. You can
Yeah,
do it too,
yeah,
Dave.
do that. Do that.
Grant
Do
did
the
it.
true tribute, man.
Exactly. Grant did it. You can do it too.
Oh well.
And
Anyway.
Grant was fat and on drugs, and he still did it great.
Well, speaking of
Is
fat and
that
on drugs, I'm fucking fat. I'm drunk. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I gotta let this download for another 2 fucking hours, probably.
no?
So
I hear you. Great
gotta shut
episode
it
all around.
down. But what a great talk. I think this will be great.
Yeah.
It'll take me a while to edit the audio, probably, but that's okay. That'll be
It's okay.
a future job. But yeah, hell yeah, dude. Awesome. Speaking of which, I guess for anyone who's hung out this long that would actually give a shit, we are figuring out on how to start some new stuff all together. There goes Jose's
You know
fireworks.
what I noticed? Whenever you do the thumbs up, it does that. Yeah. I don't know why it does it for me. See?
Oh no, it's in you do it. Oh shit. It's so cool.
See? Hold the two thumbs up and it does it. I don't know why it does that.
It doesn't work for
That's
me.
awesome.
It only does
It's
it for
awesome.
you. What the
It's
fuck
awesome.
setting is that? Jesus Christ.
I don't know. I didn't touch anything. Watch, I'll do it again.
See this
I don't get it.
this is the shit I'm gonna have to edit out of audio that will happen on video. See, one day this is gonna be your goddamn nightmare, not mine.
Soon, baby.
That's okay. That's okay. The video is gonna happen. I don't edit video. Fuck off. The audio, I will edit all this garbage out.
Oh my god, editing video.
Fuck editing video. I'm not doing it.
Hell no, fuck that shit.
Fuck it. The raw video goes up. Have fun. The
Exactly.
audio, I'll give a shit somewhat because I feel like it, because I like doing it.
Right.
That's about it. Anyway, so yeah, so maybe a new show coming up for all of us that we'll all contribute to in some way. And because I take too long, admittedly, I take too fucking long to do anything. So when Jose wants to do something, he'll do it. Nick wants to do something, he'll do it. They want to do something together, and I'm not around. They can go. They have to wait on me to take 3 months to fucking do a show.
Stay tuned for Kenny's episode on the Bad Brains and why he loves them so much. Stay tuned for that.
That'll be a 2 punk thing that'll happen here, maybe, but because I've been promising it for way too long. Along with the GG episode, that'll be here. But
exactly.
in the other show that happens eventually, if Jose and Nick will, get off their ass and name it and do some stuff like they said they wanted to.
No, I definitely want to. Trust me, I'm still coming up with ideas, but I've been so busy.
I'm giving y'all the reins. Let's go.
We'll get there.
I'm waiting on you. But no, eventually we'll do a whole nother show where we can cover anything and everything, more stuff. This is like I said, this has a little bit of an umbrella on it. It's a wide umbrella, but it has an umbrella on it, and it can only go so far. But I've came too far to end this one, so I'm gonna keep this one going. a little at a time. This thing will always stay alive. But we're gonna branch out. We're gonna do a whole new show, a whole new thing. And we'll put some new stuff out there for everybody to check out. We can talk about every whim we may have, every
Mm-hmm.
idea, books, music, video, fucking movies, everything.
Movies, everything.
Anything we might want to talk about, we'll be able to talk about it in a whole new place. So that's gonna happen.
Exactly.
For now, we're still here. you can't you can't fucking completely kill off the two punk world. This one will always be
No,
here.
not at all. This will always be
This one will
here.
be special now, so it'll have to stay alive. I'm gonna keep it alive. There's some
Keep
episodes,
hope
like I said,
alive.
I promised I would do that I'm gonna end. This will be my legacy right here. I'm gonna contribute to the other one. It in the end, probably step back a little bit, let Jose and Nick kind of run wild over there is what I hope to do. I will contribute a lot. I'll do shows and I'll do videos over there too. In the end,
And
this was gonna be my baby.
I still plan on being on Two Punk because this to me is always gonna be,
It's the mothership.
it's the mothership, exactly. This is home base for me. So
But we're gonna get it established. We'll let y'all know when it happens.
exactly.
Until then, I gotta let files load for another couple hours before I wake up at 4 in the morning. So thank you, sir, as always. This was a brilliant
Thank you
idea.
for
I'm
having
so
me.
glad this happened. I'm going by the fucking God damn it. I'm going by that shirt you're wearing probably eventually because fuck yeah.
Yeah, you can get it. You can get it anywhere. I mean, pretty much
Not much
anywhere.
has inspired me guitar wise as that has in the past 10
I
years.
probably have like two or three of these lying around, so I gotta think them out. So
Probably been about
I
10
have one
years
for
since
every
something
album.
has made me want to play guitar as much as that album did. That was fucking
Oh
fantastic.
yeah,
Awesome.
and the chorus pedal.
Yeah, it also fucking made me spend way too much money on a chorus pedal. That I absolutely didn't need. I have chorus settings on my fucking amp, and still I bought a chorus pedal. The chorus pedal I bought is better. Doesn't matter. Anyway,
Yeah,
thanks for hanging out. Thanks everyone. Appreciate you. Killer episode. No
killer
outro as
episode. Thanks a lot.
always. It's the fucking way. It's tradition. We don't have an outro, so fuck yeah.